Time for another spooky story. I am Autumn in Appalachia. If you have a spooky story of your own that you would like to share, feel free to send me a DM. Make sure as well to add me on Facebook, same handle, Autumn in Appalachia. Without further ado. Also, super quickly, I wanted to go ahead and thank you guys for 12,000 followers. We're almost there, and I don't know, it's just wild to me. I just started this channel a few months ago, and here we are growing quickly in the grand scheme of things. I know 12K may be a smaller platform, but to me, 12K in one room is a lot, and I love our community. I consider you guys friends, and I am so appreciative of everything you do, all the love, the support that you give me, that you give each other. So let's get into the story. This story comes from Brittany. It is bone chilling. She said that she has lived in the apartment she is in since 2021 or 2022, and when she first moved in, it was just she and her son living there. He was 3 or 4 years old at the time. Britt said that from the second she moved into this apartment, there was something about her son's bedroom in particular that always creeped her out. He beat her jeebs, and she didn't know how to explain it. She said that it was just a really dark, like ominous type of feeling. The air feels heavy in there, and it was just so much that she usually, unless her son was in there asleep, kept the door closed at all times. When her son was in there asleep, she would leave the door just barely cracked open. And y'all go ahead and say it with me. What in the Kentucky Fried Hell? Because this next part, y'all. One night, Britt is home. She is asleep in her bed, and it's the middle of the night. She is woken up out of a dead sleep from hearing her son scream from his bedroom, "Mommy, help me. Mommy, help me." Now, logically, she knows her son's not home. Nobody else lives in that apartment. She knows her son is at her mom's house spending the night, but the mom in her, because this is so vivid and real, she is fully awake at this point hearing it. She said the mom in her just reacts, and she sits up in bed very suddenly hearing this because she is about to get out of bed and go check on her son. The second that her body sits upright in bed, some unseen force slams her back down into the bed on her back, and she cannot move. She cannot speak. She said it was almost like sleep paralysis, but like she's fully awake, and she is still hearing her son screaming, "Mommy, help me." So she is trying everything she can just to move, speak, anything, and she absolutely can't. She's paralyzed. Eventually, though, she is able to scream out the word "stop it," and she said that the second that she screamed those words, whatever this thing was released her, and also simultaneously she can hear from her son's bedroom his toys flying out of his toy box and hitting the wall, just slamming into the wall. This made her sick to her stomach. It absolutely terrified her, so much so that she didn't get out of bed. She literally stayed there until it was light outside, and the second that it got daylight and she built up the bravery, she went into her son's room expecting to see the whole thing is just torn all to hell because of how she heard these toys violently slamming up against the wall. And she said that the room was spotless, just like it had been when her son left to go to the mom's house. She, of course, confirms he is at her mom's house. He's not there. She had been home alone, and she doesn't know how to explain it. To this day, she has a hard time, she said, even saying, telling this story out loud, sending it in a text message, anything, because it still gives her that weird feeling in the pit of her stomach. So this night seemed to be the initiation for what is now something that Britt frequently experiences, and not just her. She said that every now and then she'll be home alone with her son, or sometimes home without her son because he's at the grandma's house, and she will so vividly hear her son's voice right behind her, almost like he's standing right in her ear. And she said she'd just be in the living room or the kitchen. She'd have her back turned. She'd hear his voice clear as day, and she knows for a fact it's not him because he's either A, not home at all, or B, he is home, but he's in his room, and his bedroom door, it makes a very distinct creak when you open the door, and she knows because the living room is right off his bedroom that he hadn't opened his door, and it's not him standing right behind her. Something that's also super weird is ever since that night, the grandma also is now having experiences at her own house. She was like doing laundry in the garage one day, and the son is over there. He's over there, but he's like in a completely different area of the house. And she said that she very clearly heard the grandson say, "Grandma, come here." And so she, like, it's very close. She expects him to be right there. She turns around, he's not there. She ventures into the area of the house where he is, and she's like, "Why were you hollering for me?" And he just seems confused and swears he was not yelling for his grandma. So I don't know what to make of this, guys. It almost sounds like there's some sort of an attachment to this boy, simply because the grandma is also experiencing it in her own house. And it seems to be like, I don't know, when the grandson is there. I don't know. This is something that is actively going on. Britt said she never experienced anything like this, nor did her grandma, until Britt and her son moved to this apartment in 2021. Britt said they've never physically seen whatever thing it is that is like mimicking her son's voice, but she said that for her, the fact that it only mimics her son, it's definitely like trying to emotionally and psychologically mess with him, because obviously hearing her child like cry for help or something, she's gonna respond to that. Like, it's just a trigger reaction. So even if like she logically knows it is something paranormal, because it's so real, she still feels compelled to get up and go check. And that's pretty much it. That's where the story leaves off. It sounds like a mimic to me. Other people, think it could be like a sign of like demonic activity. We've shared stories that are similar to this, even some of my own personal ones on the page before. I know that shit is real. Even growing up, like, I lived way back in the Appalachians in Tennessee. My mom would clear as day hear us kids hollering for her, like yelling for help, and we wouldn't even be home. There's one single time where I had that happen. I heard a family member yell in a very panicked way, like yell my name, and it like echoed through the house. It was so loud, and he actually didn't yell. He didn't make a peep. It wasn't him. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Really freaking creepy, though. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments, what your theories are, and stay tuned for some more spooky stories.